So you want to go big time on YouTube. You want to be real successful. You want to make millions of dollars. So do you need a YouTube studio? Maybe. Maybe it's easier than you might think. So we're going to show you how you can set up a YouTube studio in your home. Make it real easy. Okay, I say make it real easy.
Make it real easy.
But
like,
you can make it as easy or as complicated as you want.
Right.
What makes this look elaborate is we're doing a 3-camera shoot, which we'll talk about that in the next episode. Why 3 versus 1? Because I usually just film with 1. But I really like to focus on lighting. We've got natural lighting coming in here. We've got reflector panels to bring the balanced light all around us. And we're using a 3-camera shoot because instead of just looking at the camera, we're talking to each other. And so when I'm looking at you, I've got another camera there and whatnot. Really, you can see here, this just is a home. This is actually an Airbnb, a vacation rental. You can set up a place in your own home to give it a nice backdrop. Instead of looking like a corporate environment, it's a place that you feel like you're inviting somebody to come meet with you. So this was kind of a review of some of the things we previously talked about, but I also want to talk about audio and the different cameras that we use, why we use the lighting the way we do. So I'm curious what questions that you have as far as you setting up your studio.
Well, the first thing is that cool looking lens that you have right in front of us.
So this is a wide angle lens. The one that I'm looking into right now is 24 millimeter, and if you can see on top, which means that it can blur the background. So the camera automatically focuses on Karen and I, and so the background can get blurred. And that makes it just has that look really sharp, a really cool image. I like to call that it's a real professional look, but yet it doesn't look too corporate. It just looks like, wow, they know what they're doing. They know how to make good quality video, and it's just by having a lens like that. In fact, this camera right there, I don't know if you're in the shot on that lens or not, but that's a 1.4 as well. It can really blur me. Unfortunately, I only have 2 cameras with good lenses like that. The camera that's aiming at you, it's clear up to a 4, and so the background behind you isn't quite as blurred. Sorry about that.
You were the best one for you.
Ali chose it. So.
Okay, perfect. So when do you choose when to use 1 camera versus 3?
Okay, I'll give you the quick answer now, and we'll actually demo it in the next episode. Okay. So the reason that we're going with 3 right now is because we're facing each other, not facing the camera. When you're just talking to the camera and you're giving a how-to by yourself, it's best just to have 1 camera. And a lot of videographers will do a 2 or 3 camera shoot, but it looks totally weird. Because imagine if you're watching a YouTube video and I'm talking to the camera, I'm looking at you, and then if all of a sudden it switches to a camera over here, now we break eye contact, and it's like, we'll show you an example in the next episode.
Okay, and then one big mistake that I see with a lot of YouTube channels is sound. What is the difference between this mic here versus the ones that you put in?
Yeah, so lapel mics are really good. Because we're sitting in place, I didn't feel it was necessary. So this mic right here is the Zoom H2, and it's directional, so it's just picking up sound from this space. And we have mics. Ali, show the shotgun mics on top of the cameras. So those are good, but there's enough distance from that mic to us that it'll pick up a lot more of the echo. And so team, if you can show, just switch to the audio that's on the 80D, the camera that I'm looking at right here. You show the audio from that versus now switch back to the main audio on the H2N, and you'll hear a difference. So I know you can't hear the difference. But to tell you a story about this mic, you see there's a little handle. I was filming down just a few streets over. We were interviewing people on the street. I was behind the camera filming, and my friend Chris was interviewing people about real estate. Trax train came by. It's a real squeaky, noisy train. And in my mind, I'm like, I wonder if we're going to be able to use this footage. That is just so noisy. Well, afterwards, I listened to the audio, and you could totally hear their conversation perfectly clear. You could hear the train in the background, but it was so muffled, it was totally usable. And it was this mic, just kind of holding it this distance, just kind of holding it like this. So it's an amazing mic that can block out a noisy train.
So for beginners, which one will you go with?
for beginners, for lighting and audio, those are the main two things that I'd worry about. Is instead of getting even over buying an expensive camera, I would focus on lighting, where if you can face a window, that's cheap. So if you can get, you know, natural light coming in, have your camera right here facing the window, that's the first recommendation for lighting. And then for audio, I do recommend the Zoom H2N. It's $150. It records separately. So there's an SD card right inside this device that when we're ready to edit, you know, I just put my SD card right in the MacBook and grab the audio files, put the SD card from my camera on the MacBook, and then in the editing software, I can sync them together.
Wow, okay, that's pretty cool. What about lights? You have these cool reflectors here.
Yeah.
What do they do? Because what I use for auditions is like straight lights on.
Like a softbox?
Right.
So I've used lots of softboxes in the past, and those are very affordable. They're a little bit bulky, but in fact, in this space, I used to bring I think I brought 4 different softboxes up here, and those can work great. Then I started using these panels, the big reflective panels. Basically, these panels are like a big, huge softbox. So one, they're taking light from the window and just reflecting it back, so it's just really extremely soft. And then just these ice lights, they're small, so they don't block the light. If we put a big softbox shining to the V-flats, then there's a big square of black in the middle where the softboxes are. Does that make sense? So that's why I got the skinny ice lights.
Easier to transport with them.
They're a lot easier to transport. They're real portable. They look like little lightsabers. So the ones that I got, the ice lights, are quite expensive, but if you're using it to reflect off of something else, you don't actually need the expensive ones. You can just go to Amazon and search for a wand light. That's LED. You can get ring lights. Ring lights are pretty cool because it gets light from all angles around the lens of the camera. If you're closer to it though, you'll see a ring on your eye, if you've ever seen that, a white ring. And it can be tiring on the eyes if you're filming a whole bunch of episodes back to back because you're looking right at a light.
Right. Yeah,
So.
20 videos a day won't work with that. Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that a YouTuber must have? So we have the light, sound, cameras.
Camera, I would say start with your phone, and then when you have a reason to upgrade to another camera, like have a specific reason. For me, when I upgraded to the DSLR, I wanted to be able to blur the background. That's the whole reason that I got it, and I had to learn, you know, aperture and shutter speed and sensitivity, and it was a bigger investment. But learning that, I've been great. So I've kind of got that signature look of blurring the background on all the channels I produce now.
Needs look.
Yeah.
Needs signature look. Perfect. Well, this is how you set up a simple studio.
Yeah, but start
Great
from the
quality.
beginning. I say basic because you just want to make sure you've got good audio quality. If you're walking around, lapel mics are great, and you can use the Zoom H2N and just plug a lapel mic into it and then just stick that in your pocket. It's a little big. They have a smaller version called the H1N it's better for fitting in your pocket. I don't like it because it has AAA batteries and it runs through the power. Like, you have to change the batteries every shoot, whereas these ones take AA. Here's another one right here. So the Zoom H2N takes AA and it lasts like weeks. So that's why I like it, but it's
That's
bigger,
better.
harder to stick in your pocket.
Right.
So that's how you set up a YouTube studio. In the next episode, I'm going to talk more specifically about the difference between one camera and multiple cameras shoots, and why you're probably going to be better off most of the time with just one camera.